Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. And it's speculation station time because I've been thinking about the American Express rumors, and it's not fully sitting well that all we might see is an FHR credit update. And I don't think anyone's thinking that we're just getting an FHR credit, but this credit would take up the majority of the new credits for a $200 annual fee increase. I think there's a version of this where the FHR update and maybe Hilton and maybe a Resi credit were kind of all American Express was thinking. And then in June, they got a huge gift where Chase said, here's the new Sapphire Reserve. Oh, current Sapphire Reserve holders, you're not going to be able to access these new changes until October. So American Express came out and bluntly said, we're going to launch our refresh of the Platinum card later this year in the fall. And I think they've been working off of, this was the basic package we were going to do, and they're going to do a lot more come September. Now, I think September is a really tight time frame to get everything done, but I do think that the FHR credit that has been floating was like the 0.1 version of everything, and now American Express might be scrambling to put a 0.2 or a 1.0 or 2.0, whatever the next iteration would be, full iteration, not gradual iteration. And I think they've got room to play with, and I think they could do much more than a $200 annual fee increase. Now, we don't have that $895 figure could have been attached to an earlier version of documentation that just had $400 increase net to the FHR credit and nothing else, right? There's still significantly more than American Express could do. So here's what I think on the personal platinum side. The business platinum is going to be a little bit hairier, but here's what I think on the personal platinum side. In 2021, American Express raised the annual fee from $550 to $695. They added, on top of whatever other credits there were, $695 in new credits. That was the digital entertainment credit for $240. That was the Walmart Plus credit for $155. And that was the Equinox credit for $300. That was an add of $695. They added $145 to the annual fee. So effectively, let's say it's $700 for a $150 annual fee increase. That's 3.5 to 1 value to annual fee raise. If we net out the current FNC, the current FHR credit as rumored, and add that to the credit that's currently available, that's plus $400. There's still plenty they could do for a $200 increase to the card. Now, I think that a Resi credit is definitely coming. I think that's going to be $200 split, $100 in the first half of the year, $100 in the second half of the year, because that is how American Express operates. $200 would be slightly more than the American Express Gold card. Makes a certain amount of sense. Now that is a plus $100 or $200. Now, I think the Resi credit would replace the Saks credit. Saks hasn't been in the best financial shape. And if Saks is not going to be in a place where they can continue the relationship with American Express, we'll probably cut them off and then allow you to liquidate the last of your $50 if you haven't already through the end of the year. Kind of say, as of December 31st, this credit will not be functional going forward, and just make a clean break from Saks from there. So in place of that, you'll have a potentially $200 Resi credit. That $200 Resi credit plus the $400 in addition to the $200. So that is now potentially $600. So now we're looking at that 3 to 1. So maybe that's about it. But then you look at the business card added Hilton credits, as well as offsetting a couple of other credits that were changed. So the Dell credits became like $150 annually, and then more when you spend more than $1,000 at Dell. A lot of people were upset about that. The Adobe credit changed. There was one other credit that changed. I can't remember off the top of my head, but then they also added the $200 Hilton credit, which everyone and their mother ran out, grabbed gift cards, and broke the gift card website. Good job, everyone. Because again, this is the internet and we can't have nice things. There, I think, could be more coming, and I don't think that a $200 annual fee increase is what we're looking at. I think we're looking at $300, because I think they can also add a $200 annual credit to Hilton with the American Express Platinum card, the consumer Platinum card. I think you could see the rumored Marriott business cards are getting potentially a semi-annual credit as well, at least the $150 annual fee card, which would be a jump from $125, which is still weird. That card has a $160 semi-annual credit. I think that $160 semi-annual credit could be applied to the personal and business cards. So both of those cards come with Hilton Gold and Marriott Gold. It would stand to reason that you could get semi-annual with Marriott and quarterly with Hilton credits to those particular hotel chains, because it doesn't make sense to add just Hilton and not bring Marriott along for the ride, because then you're just pushing your platinum card holders to favor Hilton over Marriott. And I don't know that American Express necessarily wants to do that. And I know for certain Marriott wouldn't want American Express to do that. That is another potentially $380 on top of the $600. So now we're looking at $980 in new credits. And what else could they do? Like, we've added Resi, we've added FHR, we've bulked up FHR and split it into semi-annual to break that. We've added Hilton and Marriott credits. So we've added nearly $800 in credits. So now if you're looking at $800, now potentially you could do a $300 increase. So I'm thinking $950 might be that number. I don't think they can go to $995. I don't think they can break the $1,000 mark unless they're adding another status or they're adding even more credits somewhere. But what other credits could you look at? Would they add $150 Hertz credit that would be broken up semi-annually to do 75 in the first half, 75 in the second half of the year? That sounds like American Express, right? But does that get you over the $1,000 mark? I don't think so. And then there's still that potential that there could be a card over the top of the platinum card before you get to the Centurion card. If you're adding all of these credits to a platinum card, you'd have to take those credits, the credits that the American Express platinum card already has, and add even more to go well above the platinum card, but not hit the Centurion card. The Centurion card doesn't work off of credits, but the Centurion card has so many statuses attached to it that you have to play a delicate balance if you're going to put a card in between the platinum and the Centurion. So that would be a whole other level of speculation. I don't think that $400 on the Fine Hotels and Resorts and the hotel collection is going to be it. And I don't think necessarily Resi in addition is going to be it. Like, the maths out that you could add $200 to the annual fee, just do those two credits, call it done, and clap your hands, say, yeah. Do I see that as American Express's opportunity? Not when they've been given a gift from Chase to really go for the jugular and grab as many dissatisfied Chase Sapphire Reserve holders. More credits at Hilton, more credits at Marriott, a better dining credit than the dining credit that was given on the Sapphire Reserve, because you have to go to very select restaurants in very specific areas. Resi's much bigger. They could go big on a Resi credit with the American Express Platinum card, like $400. $500. Even if you split that up semi-annually, like, you could go to a Resi restaurant and get a $250 credit in the first half of the year and a $250 credit in the second half of the year is a pretty solid dinner at a Resi restaurant, right? That is dinner, that is like going ostentatious for you and your partner, or that is going, you can do a double date night with you and your like best married friends, or you and your best couple friends with you and your partner, if you have a partner. Or you could just seriously ball out if you are playing in one player mode and just have the meal of your life twice a year. So I don't think that the Platinum card is just going to see these small updates. And I think that what's been leaked may have been a controlled leak and was a 0.1 to get people excited, where they didn't see any language about a second night being required on FHR. They automatically were going, oh, $600, and I can liquidate it the same way I always liquidate the FHR now. Yes. And they don't care about the $200 increase because now they're getting $400 more to play with FHR. I think that was a 0.1 thing. And I think that if Chase hadn't given American Express 4 months to play with, that's the refresh we were going to see. Then American Express said significant updates because they got word of what Chase was doing, and they've been retooling through the summer. And I don't know that September 18th date is going to hold, because that may have just been what was being put together in anticipation of just a small refresh of just FHR and maybe a small Resi credit. Now they could do a bigger Resi credit. They can add in hotel credits, specifically with Hilton and Marriott. Maybe they look to do something with Delta to bring back some of that travel vibe of the Platinum card, make the Platinum card more of a travel card rather than just a lifestyle card that has really good travel benefits. A lifestyle subscription that has really good travel benefits. Fine, we'll call it a travel card. On the business side, I still think they can continue to just go ham and just throw even more credits at it. Like, you've got the Hilton credit. I think you're going to see a Marriott credit. I don't know if you're going to have Resi on the American Express Business Platinum, but like, they've got the Dell credit, they've got the Adobe credit. I think they still have the Indeed credit. You could, add in those hotel credits. You could add in a more general travel credit there. You could add in a travel portal, an Amex travel credit if you so chose. Right? Or something with office supply stores, or something with ad spend, or something with other B2B type services that are more specific to business than business. So there's still a lot that you could do with the American Express Business Platinum card. I think they could make that more of a business card as opposed to a business card, because as a business card, it's doing pretty good. As a business card, it's not terrible. I think they're also going to add more escalators on with the $75K spend on both cards. The $75K in spend on the American Express Personal Platinum card gets you free guests into the Centurion Club, and I think also more like a guest into the Sky Club. Maybe 75K, I'm sure will lift those as well, but maybe they'll throw some additional credits at you, or an FNC at Hilton. That would be insane, but 75K in spend, and you get like a voucher for a $2,000 a night hotel room. You're going to encourage people to spend $75,000. Anyway, I'm thinking that American Express is going to do a much bigger refresh than is currently anticipated, because they have the room to play with it. Chase has given them a huge gift in terms of, here's what the Sapphire Reserve is, here's what the Sapphire Reserve for business is. Yes, you get the Sapphire Reserve business for options now. If you hold the Sapphire Reserve, you're going to have to wait until October. And a lot of people are looking for ways out of the Sapphire Reserve based on that. Again, the Sapphire Reserve, there's people who've been signing up for the Sapphire Reserve because of the welcome offer, trying to cheat to see if they can get the welcome offer one more time, because it was 100,000 points and $500 in travel credit, and they were going to liquidate that. And you're not going to see those people give up on the card or turn it into another Freedom Flex or another Chase Freedom card with ultimate rewards until this time next year. So the net signups are going to look okay in the first quarter of the new card. You might see those signups drop off in the second quarter of the new card, and then it's going to be a question of how many people are going to cancel. Do your signups net out positive versus the number of people who are going to cancel in the first quarter? And really the question is going to be, do they net out positive to the people who are going to cancel in the second quarter? And if American Express gives people a reason to cancel in that second quarter, because this card launched at the very tail end of the refresh for the Sapphire Reserve, launched at the very tail end of quarter 2. Quarter 3 is going to be a bit of a wash, and American Express knows that quarter 3 is going to be a bit of a wash in terms of what Chase's signups are going to be, and they don't care because they're still pushing out their card as is. It'll be a question, and like their changes are going to come right toward the end of quarter 3 anyway. If September 18th is the launch date for things, like you only have 2 weeks left of the quarter. So they're going to be playing with some house money there. It's going to be a question of, what does quarter 4 look like for Chase? What does quarter 4 look like for American Express? If Chase is getting a significant drop off in folks signing up for the card and folks downgrading from their card as soon as possible after October 26th, then American Express has the opportunity to sweep in and grab more customers from Chase. A not insignificant number of folks who are already customers of the Sapphire Reserve also hold the American Express Platinum card, but then those cancellations would just be pure cancellations of the Sapphire Reserve, and they're going to continue to hold the American Express Platinum card because American Express has given them reason to hold that card, continue holding that card. So I think American Express is a lot more cooking than the rumored $400 addition to FHR. I think they could add up to $900 in credits, and I think they can go to the full $300 annual fee increase. I think they can go as high as $995. I don't think they have to break the century mark or the millennial mark on the annual fee. I think they can sit at $9.95 and get just as many signups and still convince people and get people to convince themselves that the card more than pays for itself, and still get kudos here on YouTube and various other places, various other blogs where, yes, these changes, the card is even more expensive, but it's even more valuable. And there you go. Because the Sapphire Reserve hasn't had like a strong refresh or strong relaunch. There are folks who are definitely going to get value out of it. There are folks who are going to get significantly less value out of it. So I do think that we're going to see a lot of folks cancel in that second quarter of the card. I just don't know how it'll net out versus the people who signed up for yet another welcome offer on the Sapphire before changing it next year. I think there's going to be like a bigger drop off. There'll be a big drop off in quarter four. Q1 is going to be the big question mark quarter for Chase. And then Q2 will probably still see some drop off. Q3 is probably going to see a significant drop off because that's when everyone who signed up for the card this year will cancel or downgrade the card. And then who cares about Q4 of 2026, because you're going to have at least 3 full quarters of folks getting rid of the card versus signing up for the card. Like, you're going to get a lot of signups in the first quarter of the card availability, and it's just going to dry up over time. So I think American Express can go big. I think they can go a lot bigger than just $400 on FHR. And we're going to see a bigger price tag on the American Express Platinum card than we were expecting. I don't think the $895 is where we're going to end up. I think $950 or $995 is more than likely, because again, American Express has the opportunity to add even more profit than they thought they would. And if they can, they will, and people will sign up. But that's going to do it for this one. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button down below. Help me get to 3,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I want to hit 3,000 if possible. If you really like what I do, consider becoming a channel member. $2.99 a month. You can cancel at any time. Check me out on the Stack Your Points podcast. We're pushing to 600 subscribers right now. We would love to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Check out the pinned comment for ways to support me outside of YouTube. And I do have another channel with RJ from Stack Your Points. We're doing a Star Trek rewatch podcast called Bridge Banter. Check that out. And that'll do it for this one. If you like what I do, check out the 2 videos that are going to pop up over here or over here, whichever way it is on YouTube. But 2 videos are going to pop up. Check those out. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.